in Tacoma, Washington. You are our first caller. You are live with Eric and Jamie. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. How about you guys?
It's going good.
Yeah.
Eric made it sound like I want to kiss a bunch of babies.
It's real
wasn't
weird.
Just telling a joke, but that's fine. That's cool.
And also, that is a very fabulous hat.
Thank you.
Oh, don't encourage him. I try and get rid of it every time. What'd you want to talk with us about today?
On try. What did you want to talk about?
Well, the thing that I wanted to bring up was morality that is not really covered in theologic mindsets and whatnot, because when you've got a holy book, you put that on a pedestal. I mean, that seems kind of like the natural thing to do as a theist. That's the thing you look for guidance for anything. And I like looking to all of fiction to try and gauge my morality with any situations that are presented. Okay. Because you got backstory, you got all this stuff, and fiction is a really good tool for me. But specifically, the morality that I think is going to be a big question and, coming up in the near future is artificially breeding animals towards more cognitive traits and whatnot. You get where I'm going with that?
I do.
Yeah. Genius giraffes.
Jamie obviously doesn't.
Okay.
I mean, will an animal that has sufficient cognitive ability be able to be a moral actor, and what would the ramifications be to
not just a moral actor necessarily, though? Mm-hmm. Because the example that I like to use is actually an octopus, because the main reason why is because they have a large brood size, a lot of babies in an octopus brood and whatnot, big population to go through. They have relatively short lifespans, but they do learn a lot and become extremely intelligent over those short lifespans. I mean, you compare a 3-year-old octopus to a 3-year-old human, it's not even a contest at that point of which one is more capable of surviving.
That's true.
And the one of the biggest factors is the fact that they can learn from each other. I don't know if you guys heard about this experiment, but you put 2 octopuses in an aquarium side by side. One knows how to get into this puzzle that has a crab. The other one doesn't. The other one that doesn't watches the one that knows how to get into it, finds out for itself, and then is able to do it. That is amazing. That's an amazing starting point.
Yeah. So
do you
go ahead?
I know there's a I don't know what amount of research is considered significant, but there's research about this with crows, because crows are intelligent as well. But one of the things that I wanted to bring up was that apparently there seems to be a link between extended periods of adolescence when you're rearing an animal. Adolescence is almost certainly the wrong word, but I'm not a biologist. And intelligence. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, go ahead. So adolescence works.
Yeah, so it's the extended period of raising. So I don't know why I'm jumping to the fence of 3-year-old humans, but
oh no, we're talking the difference between long term and what can survive on its own. That's it. Like long term, we can do calculus. Octopuses, maybe you can teach it to do basic arithmetic if you take this experiment far enough. I don't really know for sure.
I was going to say some humans can do calculus.
That is true.
Well, I mean, the explanations that I've heard have a lot to do with development, just because we are a social species and there is so much that you're born with, but there's also the nurture aspect of it that takes such a long time for a human to mature into an adult. The huge amount of time that it takes for the brain to form and for all of those different functions to happen. You take a look at a foal that is just born and they're walking right out of the mother. Humans... Go ahead.
Well, what I was getting at, though, with this conversation is if you say you had the facility and the funding to do this, like Elon Musk can do this tomorrow if he got the wild hair up his ass. If he decided he wanted to do this thing with octopus or crows even, where it's basically the crucible of which one passes the cognitive tests, quicker, easier, whatever. And if they're not able to, they don't go on to breed and they become calamari or chicken wings. But
oh, that's weird. That is a weird.
Yeah.
But if
I didn't
you
realize chicken
artificially
wings were made out of crow. No, sorry.
Hey, I mean, semantics.
No. I was trying to joke and get to a point of like, what's in fast food? But,
well, I guess the interesting question for me is if you did come up with an animal at some point who was able to reason in a way that was similar enough to humans, would they have
rights?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that's where you were going with that.
Yeah, or do they have some kind of,
citizenship?
Well, do we owe them, or are they themselves deserving of rights by being conscious the way we...
Cognitive.
Yeah. Well, I think conscious
even if
is probably the line for me, because...
conscious.
Yeah. Well, if you... Oh, sorry. But I was just going to say, if you start tying whether or not a being deserves rights based on its conscious or cognitive ability, you then run into an interesting scenario with human individuals that have less consciousness or cognitive ability, which...
Yeah.
Hello, moral quagmire for you.
Yeah.
I know, and that's why I think this is super interesting to talk about. Yeah. And that's honestly why I tried calling in Atheist Experience last week, because I thought Matt would be very interested in a discussion like this, because it's morality that you don't really think about.
Well, it's definitely something that I'm going to take home with me and think about this week for sure. And if anybody else wants to be involved in this conversation...
Reddit.
Yeah, let's do Reddit. Actually, go ahead and hop on to Reddit. William, do you think you could
Are you a Redditor?
pop a post down and we can get a conversation going on our Reddit?
We're not cutting you off.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
No, I'm looking for a way to, talk about this idea and other ideas I have. So yeah, I'm totally open to going down to Reddit.
Cool, let's do that.
Discuss this more.
Yeah, it's easier to provide citations there.
It is.
Yeah, no, much easier.
All right.
But yeah, did you have any? Well, so I mean. Did you have any sort of, we've brought up the topic, but did you have anything like, oh, well, my conclusion lies at the present moment is that crows are better than people, or whatever?
No, like what I'm kind of, I feel like in a very tight spot, because on one hand, I wouldn't want something like this happening with people who are not morally looking for the right answers. I mean, you look at like Pavlov's dog and what kind of experiments people have done to animals in the past. And I don't think we learn nearly enough from Pavlov's dog to justify, the torturous circumstances that he put dogs through.
Yeah.
But if you had a situation where it came down to artificial selection by what was ability, and they were simply killed, no experimentation, you maybe dissect a dead octopus or crow or something, I'm not going to raise too much objection to that, because it's no more cruel than what you'd find in nature. That's kind of my line on that, if there's enough to learn from it.
Okay.
And
that single line, like, oh, I wouldn't raise an objection because it's no crueler than what's found in nature. Like, okay, so that also needs to be a topic on Reddit.
Well,
what
personally...
constitutes animal cruelty? Someone tweet at PETA.
Do you want
to... Don't.
At reason_evidence, don't bring it to my door.
Not in Eric's house.
And while we are well ahead of that, William, we're going to let you go.
Revenge for all the vegans?
Okay, that's
what this is?
Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you for calling in.
And we do look forward to
Before you let me go, before you let me go real quick.
I'll never let you go.
I did send 2 emails, and I never got a response, and I'd really like to talk to you guys more in depth about this and some other topics. So I'd love it if you guys were able to get back to me.
Absolutely,
I'll go to Reddit and see if we can
start a group conversation
have a
there.
Really good discussion about this.
William, that is 100% my fault I'm the one who goes through generally and answers all of the emails. And I am backlogged at the moment, and I'm crunching through them, and I promise I will get to you soon, especially if it's been a little while. I will.
I understand, and I'm not expecting. I know you guys run a busy thing here, but I'll get off so you guys can get the other call. Have a great day, guys.
Hey, you too. Take care, brother. Thank you for calling in. And really, I am so sorry about the email.